And we just don't know. I mean, who knows? The sky's the limit. We don't know. And here's the thing people don't realize, too. The size of the planet and the power of the gravity kind of would determine, I would think, the size of beings, even us.
Oh, yeah, it does. Because, again, the oxygen content, the magnetic force on the planet and all that stuff, the gravity and all that stuff makes that's what, why the dinosaurs aren't here, because the oxygen content is not as rich as it was back when they were here. Again, I was reading talking about dinosaurs for a split second. It must have been really horrid when that asteroid hit the Earth and then caused mile-high waves that come crashing inland. And then all the heat from that force of that, hitting the Earth, it basically fried the dinosaurs in anywhere near a couple 100-mile range. They were fried. But all the acid and the volcanoes going off, all that sulfur, all that stuff going into the atmosphere, it was toxic, and it caused like a nuclear winter. I mean, within days, the sky started going dark, and then the other ones just froze to death. That's what scares me. If something major hit our planet, that's what we have something to look forward to, wouldn't it? About the same type of scenario.
Oh, absolutely. What you don't realize, the kinetic energy of when that hits, if it hits on land, all that rock and material is going up into the atmosphere, fire hot, and it's coming back down. If it lands in the ocean, like you said, it's going to create tidal waves and tsunamis. And the thing is, if you're ever on a beach and you see the ocean going out and not coming in all of a sudden, you need to run.
You're not going to run. Where are you going to run to? Okay, come on. Unless you got unless you know how to fly a helicopter, you get on it, and then hopefully it has a jet assist on the helicopter to get away quick. Because, in a matter of minutes, then that's going to come crashing in like 100 or 200 feet waves. You got to get away there fast. You ain't going to run away. That's not going to happen. Okay, you can dream that. And you know what? The one they said it took out all the dinosaurs and caused that. And the 100-foot waves that come crashing in, that didn't crash in the water. That crashed in the land. And this from the earthquake and all that stuff caused it. Could you imagine? Yellowstone is so ripe to go. I mean, look what would happen.
That's what I mentioned a few nights ago. Could you imagine? It doesn't have to be a killer asteroid, but one just big enough to cause damage like that one in Russia 2013, or that one that just nearly missed us. If that hit in Yellowstone, it could be like a catalyst that kicks off that super volcano, and good Lord, it's like a chain reaction, domino effect, and here we go.
Now, let's check your history. 1954 in Nevada, what was created?
That's when they started the spy, that's when Area 51 Groom Lake was created, actually.
That's right. What happened in 55?
55, didn't they start the spy plane?
The CIA originally Area 51 was CIA for the U-2 spy plane. It wasn't for a few years later then Edwards Air Force and got involved into it, and it became, property of the Air Force. Okay,
that makes sense. Gotcha.
Okay. Hey, I want to do a shout out to Karen, who's listening to the show, to Timothy, who's listening to the show, Sam, listening to the show, and my very good friend, R.W. Wells. I mean, he is a good friend. In fact, I got to get him back on the show here in the next couple weeks. And we got to talk more about his near death or his death experiences. I tell you, last time he was on the show, it was really eerie. I had a hard time sleeping that night.
Oh, I bet. Jeez. My goodness. I tell you, that R.W., I told him, I said, look, quit trying to break the Guinness record for dying and coming back. Let it go. Let it go.
Well, let's hope he has 10 or 12 lives. That's scary. Hey, we're a few minutes away from having Preston on the show and talking about UFOs. One of his new books is about UFOs in the schoolyard. So I want to ask him some questions about that, talk about Area 51. UFOs coming out of, the ocean, out of California area. Kind of makes you wonder, is that where a lot of the UFOs are hiding? And all these people are talking, about all these different areas where people go to see UFOs, but they're not talking about giant rock. And, that was the first grouping where people, like 10,000 people showed up a couple times back, in the 40s and the early 50s in Giant Rock to see UFOs.
Yeah, that was the original start of it, that kicked it all off, basically.
Oh, yeah. So
definitely.
I don't know. And then there's some people, saying, well, in September, the UFO sightings start dropping off. But you know what? From the reports I get every day, which I do double check on, they're not dropping off. They're getting really hairy and scary.
No, if anything, I found they're not dropping off. Matter of fact, I find that there's more reports of sightings of aliens on the ground and more reports of different encounters with aliens and all kinds of different UFO shapes and sizes on top of that.
Yeah, I don't know. The only thing I can't understand is back in the 70s when I started broadcasting, UFOs were like 25, 50 feet, and maybe 100 feet was a huge UFO that people were claiming that they saw. Now, it went from 25, 50, 100 feet to Walmart size. I don't know what's going on, and the ones I discount is when, I get somebody that sends me email and they said, I saw this triangular UFO and it had windows and I could see people looking out these windows and all these lights were flashing and it had rivets everywhere. As soon as I hear the word rivets, I know, yeah. I know that's a dead giveaway. Come on. They don't even put ships together with rivets anymore because they during World War II, remember those Liberty ships, they got hit or whatever happened, they would break in half. The destroyers would break in half. They were all put together with, by rivets.
Yes. You know what? You can go back 30 years ago when Bob Lazar, one of his reports was when he was in their reverse engineering. He said it looked like they took one giant piece of material and molded the whole ship out. There was no seams, no rivets, no corners. It was all one piece of material, all curves. So, there's no rivets. I mean, if you see rivets, you're talking something way back.
Yeah, well,
not ours. Ours.
I don't put it this way. If aliens were capable, okay, coming from another galaxy, a solar system, right, to our lonely little planet, okay, our own little greedy little planet, are they going to come here in a ship that's riveted together? Come on, people. Don't send me stories like that. I read that, and I'll be honest with you, it's a good laugh. I don't know how many times I've spit my coffee or tea on a monitor screen because I'll be reading this story. I saw this UFO, and it had all these big, huge rivets on it. I'm sorry, people. Don't, if you're going to do some more research before you send me a message saying that you saw a UFO with rivets. Come on, that's a dead giveaway.
I can tell you something else that makes me laugh. The fact that if anybody thinks we're going to take a trip, 2.5 year trip to Mars on a rocket that uses fuel, fossil fuel or rocket fuel, whatever, not going to happen. I mean, the weight alone of the amount of fuel you'd have to take, you couldn't get off the ground. So we'd definitely have to have some kind of secret propulsion system that's not out there yet to even attempt to do that.
Well, you don't have a girlfriend right now. Have you thought about maybe volunteering to go to Mars?
I'm not going to Mars, and I got a girlfriend, so there.
Oh, come on. You go through them like I eat candy. You know what? We could have the first talk show from Mars. You could be my co-host, and you could be telling me every day. We could be going on air, and you could tell me what it's like in the feel of being in a spaceship day after day with the same people, breathing the same air and pooping in a bag. And tell me, what it's really like going to Mars, let alone getting to Mars.
Exactly. Could you imagine, say there's a crew of 8, and you're not going to have a lot of room, and you're going to be cramped up. So say 2 years at the shortest trip one way. So now you're not only in there cramped, you're eating food that comes in a powder or pill form. You're recycling your fluids, and you can use your imagination on that one. And plus, your body physically is not, mankind was not made to be in space for very long at all. And then you talk about your mental. You add those things up, and you're talking about a recipe for disaster.
I just don't understand why we are talking about going to Mars. If we want to go somewhere, please, let's go to the moon, unless there's a reason why. Maybe on the backside of Mars, there's buildings and installations of aliens or something. And maybe we've been told not to go back.
You're talking about the moon, right? On the dark side of the moon?
Yeah, the dark side of the moon.
Yeah, they wrote an album about that, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's something going. Either we never been there, or there's something there that we've been there and said, look, don't come back no more. It's got to be one of the two. Or maybe we've been there and we've been going there all along. We got secret bases there. I'd say it's one of the three. What do you think?
I don't know, but Whammo, I guess, been going to the moon for years. You know that slime they used to sell to kids? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But you know that report, that they found slime on part of the moon?
Yeah.
I just remember when I was a kid, they used to sell Whammo, used to sell slime. Remember that?
Yes. Oh, yeah. The same store they had Slinky. The old song Slinky, Slinky.
Yeah, but maybe Whammo had all the slime left over and they put it on a couple rocket ships and shot it on the moon to get rid of it.
Hey, here's a little tidbit about your what you're talking about there. That stuff, that silly putty stuff or whatever, that was trying to invent during the war to another alternative for rubber to make tires and stuff. And it didn't work out, so the guy took it home and said, hey, this would be a good toy for the kids, and here we are.
Yeah, but kids don't play with slinkies or silly putty or slime anymore.
No, you got 7, 8-year-olds with better cell phones than I got. You kidding me?
No, it's scary because you know what? They're into the video games like you wouldn't believe. I mean, their whole life. I mean, instead of, I hate to say it, we need to do something. We need to focus the young people into more, like in engineering and other things that's going to benefit mankind to, help us in the future. But yeah, these young kids, what they do is they spend 10 years, 15 years playing these, video games online. Have you ever gone on Facebook and clicked on videos, live videos, and you'll see half of those channels are people playing every day. They're playing games for hours and hours. They're so obsessed with it. It's scary.
No, I don't click on no videos on here. Gary, I still play PlayStation 2 once in a while. How outdated am I? Oh my goodness.
You are. And I'm older than you, and I'm playing around with free energy. While who knows what you're doing? You're calling up girls that you meet off of Facebook. That's what you're doing.
Oh, hello. I wouldn't call up nobody off Facebook. I try to stay out of there unless you're calling me and waking me up or something.
Hey, I just thought of something. You know what? I'm going to free energy toilet light seat. Okay? we get power, instead of a night light, we can take a toilet seat, right? Put a magnet into it, put LED lights in it. And do the same thing I did with this light, and we can power the toilet seats. And that would be really cool. And then you could find where to go at night, and it'd light up your whole bathroom.
Well, that's a thought. I'm sure it would be a really good seller.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they have it now, but we got one in my bathroom right now, but it takes batteries, and they last like a week, and then the batteries are dead, and you have to put another batteries in it. And who wants to put batteries in a toilet seat? It's not a fun thing. But, seriously, this would be free energy. You never have to worry about batteries. Anyway, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to call Preston Dennett, and we're not going to talk about free energy or toilet seats or, what we've been talking about. We're going to be talking about interesting things, UFOs, Area 51. So stay tuned. And a shout out to my good friend, Tom, with Mediterranean power and light, Metatron power and light. You can go on our website,